of you have come. We're a little late getting started today, but that is nice. That's a very good thing, because we often have people come in after 2 o'clock for the art show. So this way, everybody's here, and we're excited about another one is coming in now. So we are just so glad that you are all here. This should be an exciting show. We have a guest, by the way. Bill Crosby and Marilyn have their granddaughter and daughter with us today, and she is about to graduate maybe a year and then go on to college, and she is a wonderful artist now, and so we have a lot to look forward to in the future from Kate, and y'all can speak to her. We also, last time, had 3 new artists, and that is so exciting for our little community to be building. But this time, we have another new artist. And I'm going to ask you just to stand up. You're going to stand in a minute, but this is Sue Benny. And Sue Benny, Sue is brand new, and we are excited about what she is bringing to our community through her talents and gifts. I want to thank everybody again for being here, because it is very important that we have the support and the encouragement of our family here at Kirby Pines. And it really is a beautiful thing when you come in together just to support us in our attempt at using the gifts that we have. Support is very, very important in our lives, and I know that each of you have experienced someone coming into your life and supporting what you're trying to do, or even if you have had a failure and someone steps forward to encourage you and to help you to move forward. And it reminds me of Nathaniel Hawthorne. Now, Nathaniel lost his job. He was at the customs house, and he lost his job. He became very despondent and very much a failure. He saw himself as a failure. And when he came home to tell his wife, I just love what she said. Well, now you can write that book that you've always wanted to write. Wasn't that a great response for her? And under her kind and uplifting words, he wrote a book that we're all familiar with, perhaps one of the most well-known books, and that is The Scarlet Letter. Now, he wrote that out of failure. Isn't that marvelous? But because someone cared to encourage him and to see the bright side of what could be a very unfortunate thing. And so I see all of you as encouragers and supporters. And I know that it doesn't stop here. I know that your love, your support, your encouragement extends way beyond the art show, because you love and care for one another. It is amazing, and why I love Kirby Pines so much is because of the sense of family and belonging. So we have a lot to share today, and I'm just thankful and glad that y'all are here to enjoy it. And by the way, back at the refreshments, we've had some wonderful refreshments before, but I want you to notice it's a work of art. It's almost a still life in itself, the way it's set up. But I don't know who all worked on this, but the pieces of fruit, everything is cut up. It is so easy to get and to eat, and then beautifully presented. So I want to really give a shout out to our kitchen people, to the people that make this to talk about John Sosh. Whoa!
I didn't do it.
John Sosh has been a real encourager. He's presenting a piece of art, wonderful art, but he comes around when we're all painting at different times and all, and he walks a lot, and he'll come by and he'll look at what you're doing. And he looked at the painting that I was doing down here at the end. Real challenging painting, 26 people in it, that's the challenge. And so, anyway, he stood there and he looked and he waited. And sure enough, I said, John, I need a little help here. What do you see that can make this a better painting? And he, pondered a while, and he was sweet as could be, and he said, I think you can work on this a little bit, just a little bit, just a little touch of the, And I looked at it and I said, well, I'll be. That has been a sore thumb this whole painting, and yet here he comes along. He doesn't barge in, but he is that supporter. And we try to do this in the art department. We really try to support each person because we have brand new artists, we have almost brand new artists, and yet they are creating and doing some beautiful work. And it takes encouragers like John Sosh. I appreciate you, John.
You're welcome.
Get this show on the road, and we are, Sue's going to start us off, and then as each person finishes up, I may make a comment or so, but they'll pass the microphone off to the next person in line. So come on up.
Okay, here we go. Okay, I have this big painting right here. I'm Suzanne Huffnagel, and this is my newest quilt. I started it in January and had my part of it completed in June, and it went off to the long arm quilter, and I just got it back the first part of July, I think. So the pattern name for this quilt is Square Bubbles. You all figure that out, because I haven't yet. And the color palette comes from, this quilt is for my sister Jennifer. So one time when we were in her condo, I took pictures of her living room furniture. And so the palette comes from one of her, in this part of her life, she decided, one thing I have always wanted in my life is a red recliner. So she now has, it's not gaudy red, it's kind of orangey red, it's a beautiful chair. And then her sofa is kind of real nice chocolate, blackish brown sofa. And then she has another chair that has some florals in it. So when she went to the bathroom or something, so in secret, I took a picture of the back of her chair so I could have the colors that were in the palette of her room. So I made this so that she can snuggle up and watch Kentucky basketball, whatever she wants to watch, golf, anything that has a ball, she's usually watching it. So this is for her whenever I get it to her. I don't know when that's going to be. But this quilt is 66 inches wide and 80 inches long. The original pattern called for it to be 94 by 94, which was a little too big for her. So I cut it down to just have 4 blocks across, and 1, 2, 3, 5 down. And each block, right, this block right here, each one is made the same way, except this one goes this direction where the color is up. The next one you turn around and the color is down. So you keep going that way, but it's made exactly the same way. It was a fun quilt to do and for it to come into reality. And my quilter friend Terry, her husband designs quilt patterns and sells them online. And this pattern, this is the first quilt that it has ever been on, and it's called Off the Wall. So you can take a closer look. And the back is red with green hearts. And you can turn it over and see it. And Mike says, "Why in the world did you pick that for the back?" I said, "Because it's full of hearts, that's why." So as it's up on the wall, enjoy it, and thank you for letting me do that. Okay, Caroline? That's okay. Takes all of us a while. We're just glad you're here. There you go. Thank you.
Carolyn, before you start, I just want to say one thing about you and your special friendship. She has been a real close friend because when I came to Kirby Pines, she was one of the first people that I met, and I met her in the art department, and we became fast friends then and have shared the studio together ever since. So she's a real fine artist and a real good friend.
Thank you. This is a picture that I did. I call it my summertime picture. And I don't know why I did it. It just came to me one day. I just need a summertime picture. And when you are, I taught school for 45 years. And so in the summertime, I always enjoyed the outside. I had my grandchildren come I had 8 of them come for a week at a time, and without parents. And I told them parents were not allowed. And I did this by myself, but we had so much fun that they were never a problem. So we did that for 8 years.
Wow.
And this scene is, I don't know, it's something that I think you can see. I haven't seen that many poppies before, but it's a poppy field, and I have a squirrel coming down the tree, and I have bunny rabbits, and I have a little girl walking back to a structure. I don't know if it's her home. It could be anything you want it to be. And
Carolyn, excuse me for interrupting you, but tell them the medium you used.
I always use the medium I use. Okay, I have to think. They're pencils. They're watercolor pencils.
Isn't that
So
amazing?
you can draw with them, but then if you want the color to come out, you put your paintbrush, dip a little bit of water, and go the same way that you were doing the. Okay.
Well, I think we can see beautifully how you did that. But to me, it's amazing, and people have been amazed. And it's a new medium as far as I'm concerned. I didn't know it existed. But she uses that pencil, and she paints literally with a pencil, because then she gets the brush and she makes it blend. And when you think about it, and that's a big painting, that she did that in pencil. I think it's just a pretty amazing thing, Carolyn. You just outdone yourself. Okay.
You know, it's nice to have somebody in common with folks that you're related to. My daughter-in-law and my granddaughter, both artists, and we got to think talking about it. So yesterday we had lunch with my granddaughter, and hey, come on over, and she jumped at the chance. So I'm glad to have them here. Both of my sons went to graduate school in New Hampshire, that little school you may have heard of, Dartmouth College. And we used to go up there occasionally. If you've never been to New Hampshire, go there in the fall. That's when all the leaves change, and everything is much prettier. Don't go after fall, because it's kind of ugly, it's all brown. But this was, I'll call it the little white church in the woods. I don't know if anybody else called it there or not, but anyway, I took a picture about 20-some odd years ago, and it just rose to the top as we were going through stuff, well-held stuff. And this one rose to the top, and I have another one of a curved bridge that I may do. But this looks remotely like the picture I took, close enough to suit me anyway. Anyway, you can see the fall colors, and that's all I can tell you about it. It was a real pretty scene.
Bill is one of our new artists, but he's been with us a couple of years now, I think, or but he had not painted before. And I think that he has done a beautiful job. He just gets in there and paints and works at it, and he produces beautiful work. And I'm just so thankful that we have him, and we have another fairly new artist too. But now Bobby's been painting a good while, Bobby Thompson. He'll tell you about this.
Okay, this was, it was just some flowers, nondescript flowers, and the ferns are made with acrylic pens. And I painted this for a dear friend. And of course, when I took it down to her, she said I hadn't got a wall or anything with that pink background to go with it. So I said, okay, I'll take it and redo it. Did another one with a tan background, make her happy.
Oh man.
So it looks better big like this, you know.
That painting is a winner. I really, really like that, and I've heard some other comments since people have been walking around. They're attracted to that. I mean, you're really drawn into it, and
It's bright and cheerful.
And you know what I think about it? I think that since your friend turned it down, I want it.
Well, she kept the one I gave you, and then she died, and then we couldn't get it back with the estate sale. But how much do you like this one?
Hey, we'll talk, because I do like that painting. It is wonderful. And okay, here we have Marilyn. It was an early artist with us, and she's just done a good job. I don't know of anybody that works harder and more determined than you are, and I really admire that in you, and I wish I had that. I was getting mine framed this morning, and so you are a wonder. Tell us about your work.
I did this golfer because one day I was just walking down the hallway from the art room, and there was a Golf Digest laying there, and I saw the golfer, and I thought, I'd like to draw him. Mistake number one. It was a whole lot more trouble than I thought it would be. This guy has in his hand an iron, so obviously if anybody's a golfer, he's already in his tee shot. And he's hitting the second or maybe the third shot, hoping it'll get better. I hope the painting gets better because I've done it again and again and again, and I still am not happy with it.
Well, we like your determination, and it is an interesting painting. We have golfers in our family. The next is Sue Benny, and you met Sue earlier as we got started, but we are delighted that Sue now is a part of our little group.
When I was much younger, I did a lot of freehand drawing, and then I went into drafting, and I kind of lost that ability.
Put the mic up to your mouth.
Okay, sorry. And I kind of lost the ability to do freehand. The 4 images on the bottom were done in 2-hour sessions through Creative Aging, which is a program here in Memphis that works with people over the age of 65. And you can see the progression on how we improved as we got to the end, and the one on the end was the very last one we did in class. The 2 up at the top were ones that I just did, like in the last week or so. And it's the art form is called Zentangle, and the name comes from the husband who is an ex, not priest, but religious person that did a lot of meditation. And the wife did calligraphy when she finished her botany drawings. So they went together on a weekend and came up with this type of art. And everything is done in free form, but it's still in patterns. And anybody that when we did these 4 down here, everybody followed the same instructions, but they all came out differently because everybody's hand is different and everybody's concept of shading is different. So this is my first attempt at this. The one here on the end's a little bit different than most of them. I actually added to it a snail, a rose, and a butterfly, which isn't exactly free line forms.
That's fascinating and a new art, and one that I don't think I will ever attempt. Okay, John.
I'm just gonna leave it there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, where do we begin? Started with a black canvas. The pattern paper, black paper, I did, just took a brush, pounded it in the black paint, and put it away. And that was about 3, 4, 5 years ago. The crosshatch background, one day I was going through my mail and throwing things away, and all of a sudden I came across a big envelope that had that paper in it, and I said, boy, that's kind of neat. So I cut it out and I said, I'll use this sometime. Now that was about a year ago. And then finally, it needed something else, and that green and orange and all I had from another painting, and was getting ready to throw it away, and I said, no, I think I'm going to use that for my next painting. So that's what we call. Oh. Okay. No questions? Okay, good.
Right in the center aisle. Yeah. So thank you, John, and I hope you heard what I was saying earlier in the day, because you really do mean a lot to the whole community. And as does Jody. Where's Jody? Somewhere, I saw her. John's wife. Anyway, she's a big part of our community too. Okay, Leora, tell us about, this is the most amazing thing ever.
Thank you. What I brought today is a 3-dimensional representation of Van Gogh's Starry Night. It's all Legos. In reading about the person who actually designed this initially was just a plain old Lego fan. He was not a Lego engineer. And I don't know, probably somebody who started out as a kid and just kept doing it. But he noticed just just some of his blocks lying on the table that it looks sort of like brush strokes. So he decided, well, let me see if I can't do Starry Night. And that's what started this. The way it's built, you start from the back, which are all blocks that are laid in levels, different colors, and you have to follow the picture to know which color comes next. And then you add everything that you see in the foreground. The thing about Legos, I was thinking about, what can I say as to why on earth anybody other than a kid would want to do this? As I've said before, there are no written instructions, it's pictures. And I think when working with Legos, it's almost nonverbal, which is probably more like painting. You're not thinking in words, you're thinking more in design. So in this case, this one is the hardest one I've done. Took the longest so far. John was asking me how long did it take. It's like, I couldn't add up the hours because there's parts of it that I've built 4 and 5 times. Because the other frustrating part about Legos is you don't know you've made a mistake until you get to a point where the blocks don't fit. And so then you have to go backwards and fix it. I built the back at least 4 times.
Oh my goodness.
And then I had it all together. The cypress tree here in the foreground fits into it. So everything was done. Had to put the cypress tree in, I put it in, and it fell apart.
Oh.
Fell apart, everything, everything. So then it was put it back together. So as I said, I built it 4 or 5 times. I wish I had hoped I could hang it, but it extends too far. But at the same time, it's mentally stimulating. There's a real sense of accomplishment when you get it together and it stays there. So I hope you enjoy it.
Leora, I think that we have a lot in common, painters and Lego builders, because there are numerous times when we get off to the wrong start. Or maybe it was the right start, but we don't see it quite right. Maybe we need John Sosh to walk by. Whatever the case, sometimes we do over and over, and a painting is not just done as easily as it might appear sometimes. And now Kayla's going to help us a little bit.
So obviously I don't look very much like Anne, but she is not able to be here today. She's not feeling well, so I wanted to read off what she sent me about her piece. So this is a plate which is part of a series of small cookie plates that Anne painted. Each of them is decorated with different flowers. The borders are made with a matte gold paint, and each of these requires several firings to get the colors. So enjoy it, come by and look at it, otherwise it'll be in my office window for you to continue to enjoy.
Did this type of work, and it was totally amazing, the things that she would put out. And fortunately, we have a few of her pieces, but now we've got Sarah McCallum coming, and she's going. Every time she does a watercolor, it just amazes me. It's wonderful.
Well, ever since I started painting, I'm wanting to paint a hydrangea, because I just love the colors and how they sort of go from blues to pinks and whites, and it's not, I had a hard time getting them to blend like I wanted to. So I had done several pictures with hydrangeas, but I wasn't happy with them. And I saw a picture similar to this, where they had used sort of a pattern like this, and I added some more flowers, and had a butterfly. And I've been working also on backgrounds, because that's a hard thing to do. I like to try to do layers of paint for just watercolor. And Anyway, this is the hydrangea that I ended up with. Blue hydrangea butterfly.
This one, can you hear me? This was a painting I tried to make of a photograph my son sent me when he was in Alaska on vacation. As a part of his vacation, one day he took a train excursion around the White Pass mountain range. And that must have been very exciting because he took a lot of pictures up there and the pictures came out terrific. I really enjoyed looking at them. You know, I kind of enjoy getting pictures for my kids while they're on vacations in some exotic place. But in a way, it can be discouraging. It kind of reminds me, hey old man, you're retired. You got a broken knee. All you can do is hobble around. Most of my hobbling around now, most of my vacations are going to the doctors. Whoopee! But I'm glad to be at Kirby Pines, where most of you people are nice. And I said most. And very few try to run over me while I'm hobbling around. And Jerry, you'd be surprised at this. Occasionally, I even get a nice, friendly smile. Woo! Thank you.
Okay. All right, here she comes. Phyllis Mitchell's going to tell us about her painting, but Walter is one of our fairly new artists. I think he came along about the same time Bill did, Bill Crosby, and don't let him pull your leg because he is a happy, good artist and does a lot of fun things for us, and I really like that. So keep doing the pictures from your son. Use those pictures because they're good. You do a good job with it. Okay, Phyllis, this is wonderful. Tell us about Phyllis, bless her heart, she's a great artist, but the problem is that she had an accident and hurt her shoulder, was out and she could not paint, she couldn't do hardly anything, and for a long time, and we have missed Phyllis, we've missed her in the art department working, but she's back now and we're so excited.
Okay, this has been a work in progress. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. I saw a picture that had this gray and gold sky and had this configuration of water in it, and I just loved it. And so I thought, I'll maybe do that. I followed the instruction of our leader, and I drew that onto my canvas, and I painted it. And then I looked at it, and I thought, okay, now what do I do with all this? Because it was all just blank. So I stewed on it for a couple of weeks, and then I thought, well, I really do need something right here. So I thought, I love those little cottages in Ireland. And so I looked and looked until I found a picture of a little cottage. And so I put the cottage in. And I still had all this blank space. So I thought about it for a couple of weeks, and I thought, well, there's lots of sheep in Ireland. So I thought, well, maybe I'll just add some sheep. So I started out by putting them right here, and then I realized this is kind of a cliff behind here. Those sheep are so dumb, they're gonna fall over that cliff. So then I thought back and I thought, well, you know, Ireland is just full of these wonderful little rock fences. So then I decided to add a rock fence to enclose my sheep right here. Well, I still had this blank spot. So I thought, well, I'll just put a little herd of sheep there. And I thought, well, you know, they surely are smart enough not to just walk into the water, so I don't need fences there. I'll just put them there. Well, then I got through and I told Jerry, I said, it looks almost like a cotton field instead of sheep. But she convinced me to leave it the way it was because, unfortunately, what we do, nobody's ever happy with what they've painted. And so what we do, we tend to keep adding or trying to change it or trying, and many times then you mess up the whole picture, you know, because you really mess up then. So I stopped, and this will be, you know, I have these wonderful fans, my children, because neither one of them are artistic at all, so they think I'm wonderful, you know. So I keep making these paintings knowing that, hey, I can always push them off on them, you know, they'll take them, so that's my picture.
I just add that about adding to a painting and then I'm going to add this over here, and all of a sudden you get so many things going, you don't know what you started out with. That was something like my painting, but you'll see that later on. The good thing is that Jack Williams, I know a lot of you remember Jack, wonderful, wonderful artist, and he always showed he was really a fine artist. Anyway, he would come around and look at her work and would say, oh, Jack, you know, what do you think, what do you think? And he would always say, well, better stop before you ruin it. And that was his quote all over and over, you better stop before you ruin it. And so that was good advice then, and we love your painting, and the sheep, I think the sheep look just like sheep. And now we're gonna hear from Jeannie Valentine.
And this was the first thing that you ever saw was what she just flipped over to. That's the worst thing we have to go through, is to go get our picture made with the stupid picture. I don't like that picture. She knows it. Anyway, this is, wrong house. This is a country house on the hill, and you can see that I have a little bit of a rusty roof. You can see on the picture better that the front porch goes all the way around and goes a little bit in the back also. And you'll notice on the right-hand side of the picture, there's a little clothesline. That's how we dried our clothes, on the clothesline. So there's a sheet and a pair of pants and something else and a little yellow dress and a dish rag right there. And then this is a stump with a seesaw, a board on it for a seesaw. Now you can be out there doing on the board with your sister. I have a sister, and the Iceman would come by and he would get his tool out and chip us off a piece of ice, and that was a big treat. So that's my country house, and that's it.
It's me again. So me and Jerry are constantly trying to encourage artists to come in the art room, to display their artwork, even if you're not painting right now and you have something that you would love to display in our art openings, just let us know. So this right here is Janet Reeves. She's lived here for a long time, and she hasn't been able to paint recently, but she did have this to show. It's something that nobody at Kirby has seen before, and it's an oil painting of the Texas country hills. So she isn't even here for me to be able to pay tribute to today, but if you see her in the hallway, make sure you give her some words of encouragement, because we would love to see her back in the art room.
The next painting is going to be me. And there's a story about that. First 2 weeks in June, our family went to Florida. And all of these people are cousins. I don't know if you see the banner up top, it says the Cousins 2025. Well, the plane is flying all over the beach, and here the cousins are all in this painting. They start off with our three children, Kim, Carrie, and Kevin, and then Wayne, Mark, and Paul. Those are the first original cousins. And my sister and I really worked on getting our families to stay together. We wanted our children to know each other. And so we would, when we didn't have 2 pennies to rub together, we would meet halfway between California and Georgia. Or we would meet in different places and have our vacations together so that our children got acquainted. And this vacation, it was just amazing. Everybody came except my sister and her husband. They both have passed away. But the rest of the family came, which was a witness for us about really working to keep our families together. It takes work, costs money and time, but all these are cousins from my sister and her husband and Maxie and me, our children, and then all of their children. And so there are 26 people in this painting. And I hope you notice the main character is up front. This little guy, he never took his blue sunglasses off, and he never had his pants pulled all the way up because he was so active and everything, and that was his little bathing suit, but it was forever sliding down because he was digging in the sand and pulling the wagon and everything. So all these people are our direct descendants, and it's just really exciting to put them in a picture. So it was a playful thing. I didn't start it in time to really do a particularly good job. One night I was up painting at 1:30 in the morning, which probably for an artist isn't too unusual. But anyway, I was painting then, and then I just kept seeing things that needed to be worked on. And finally, this morning, I got up and I went over to the art department and I framed it. And so it's done. But anyway, that's a playful painting that just captures a family that have tried their best to stay together and vacation together. And one great thing about that is not our children, but their children have planned things that didn't include us. I mean, but that is the beautiful thing about it, because they are continuing the tradition of keeping the family together. Anyway, that's kind of all. One more thing that is very special, and I want Colleen to come up, and we are just going to, yes. We couldn't get the originals, but we got, come on up. All right. This is some of the lane, helping the lane. Okay, Colleen, I've known Colleen now for 8 years, and she has been a marvelous painter, a marvelous contributor to our community, as well as her paintings in many different ways. She's just been a jewel. And now, the reason I particularly wanted to bring her up today is because yesterday she celebrated her 100th birthday. No, not yet. It's just a little bit more. Now, she has been so precious, and through the years, she went to Mississippi State, right? Woo! And she didn't start painting till 1960. And I know that seems kind of way back, but nevertheless, she started then and didn't study art, but she is just developed into a beautiful painter. But the beautiful thing now is that because of her love for Mississippi State, she is endowing scholarships for students to come and study there. And that's what she's now giving herself to. At 100, she's thinking of other people. Maybe that's what the next painting ought to be from you. Well, listen, I know the show's kind of run over. Maybe, I don't know, but we are again so thankful for you coming, and we have Marilyn Ray is here, and the most beautiful thing, she and her people that she plays Marjan with put off Marjan so they can come and support the artists, and so we really appreciate what they do. And you did play your cards. Well, we have some other folks that do the same thing, and we are really proud of the people here. Thank you so much.